the story of Joab and Abner. This story starts the move towards David becoming king. And really, it starts the move towards David building an empire. This is the zenith of all of the history of Israel, is David building the empire and Solomon building the temple of God. Great time. In this particular story, there are several conflicts going on. First of all, you have Judah and the rest of Israel. Now that conflict actually started back in the days of Saul, and it's going to continue on until eventually it becomes two nations. But you also have the conflicts between the family of David and the family of Saul. Judah is quick to say, family of David, he'll be our king. Rest of them say no. You also have in the background a conflict between the Philistines and the Israelites. The Philistines which are down in the southwest, have actually moved to the north, and the whole battle with Saul was the Philistines going to the north of Israel to capture and to develop iron mines. They had iron and they needed to get more. And so that was the whole conflict, how Saul and Jonathan were killed up in the north. And so you have this conflict going on behind the scenes. Abner is fighting the Philistines. Not much said about it in the Bible here, but that's what is going on. Then you have the conflict between the two great commanders. The title of the story, Joab and Abner. And that conflict goes on into the next story. Well, David becomes king. He's 30 years old. Amazing, 30 years old. Everything that's happened up to this point has been before David was 30 years old. Now, as he becomes king of Judah, he's 30 years old. He rules Judah for 7.5 years. But interesting, Ishbosheth doesn't become king until the last 2 of those years. So what about the first 5? Well, what happened there? Well, that goes back to the Philistines up in the north. Abner is conducting a guerrilla warfare. He can't set up a king. They'll just come and kill him. It's best for him to strike and to do it in a kind of a guerrilla warfare way, because he cannot face the Philistines, especially without a king, directly. So he is carrying on. And the Philistines, they're not going to bother David because they're more concerned with Abner in the north. They, in a sense, maybe thought that David was an ally. After all, he had spent the last couple of years at their place, and the king trusted him. And more than likely, the Philistines were happy that David was keeping Judah out of the conflict. So anyway, you have these 5 years that Abner's fighting. This gives David a chance to build his kingdom. Give him a chance to kind of get things established. But finally, Abner must win enough of the battle in the north that he can turn, go to the south, and go after David. First thing he does is he takes Ishbosheth, sets up a new capital. Let me see if I can say it here. Mahanaim. Mahanaim is on the east side of the Jordan River, not where Saul had his kingdom. Mahanaim was that place where Jacob came and reconciled with his brother, a story that we call Two Camps. That's Mahanaim. That's the place. It's now the capital for Abner's king, the family of Saul, but it also becomes a place where when later on in a later story, when Abner, when David's son takes over the kingdom, David runs from Jerusalem and goes to Mahanaim. And that's his refuge while his son takes over the kingdom for that period of time. Interesting place. Well, Abner tries to do what Saul couldn't do. 3 interesting cities: Hebron, Mahanaim, and Gibeon. Hebron was the largest city of Judah, and that's where David sets up his, that's where God tells him to go. It was easy to defend. That's that place that Caleb says, I want that mountain, and that was Hebron. Mahanaim, we've already talked about that, and then Gibeon. Gibeon, again, is that place that tricked Israel by dressing up into old clothes. And Joshua made an agreement with them. They keep coming up. That's the place where the sun stood still. And all through the history of Israel in the Old Testament, the Gibeonites in Gibeon are very much of a major part. Well, the first battle of the Civil War between Abner and Ishbosheth in the north and Joab and David in the south happens at Gibeon. Well, so many things. I hope I haven't bored you with all these facts, but so many things behind this story. But it's all important because this now leads us into David becoming king. Join us again after the next story for some more insights about the story.